Hey, it is Chrissy from Up the Windy Lane. Welcome to the greenhouse. I'm going to do a little April garden tour. I know it's really early. My garden is not started out as well as what I would like it already this year, but it's still early, so I think I can still get some stuff that I really want to grow in the ground. We'll see how it goes though. But we're going to start out in here. I'm going to show you some of the new flowers. I'm just going to show you basically what's coming up and some things that I've kind of failed at this year so far. Alright, so in here we've got the stuff that I started mainly in the house. So these are doing really well now. They did not look like this before, and I wish I had more of these. These poor little kohlrabi. This soil is really hard. It is from last year. This is not like potting or seed starting soil, and I think that's where I messed up. So like these didn't come up over here. This is, let me look, that is a lamb's ear, and this is a Johnny Jump Up flower, and there was supposed to be calendula back here, and those did not come up. So this is my kohlrabi that did not come up very well. I have planted some out, and I don't know, it just didn't really do well. I planted kale out, didn't do well. Either the chickens got it or planted it out too soon and they were too small. Like these would probably be okay now, but my other ones were, they didn't quite have they had just gotten their second leaves. So like all this probably needs to be potted up and kind of, I don't want to thin it out because this is all I have. So these over here are cabbages, which really should go out. A couple years ago, I actually had cabbages in the garden in about a week from now, middle of April or so. I had cabbages, like big, beautiful cabbages and kohlrabi. So I'm really slacking last year and this year. But this is some broccoli, and my marigolds aren't coming up in this one. I do have them planted inside though. I just sprinkled them on top of soil in containers like this. I love these. These were free basically because I saved them from greens, and these work wonders. These are large cherries, tomatoes, which as you can tell this one is not doing well. These were started inside. I brought them out here, so some of them are hardening off well. These back here are black peony poppies. I need to decide what I'm going to do with these. If I really want them to stay, but I may have to either put them in something else or take them back inside. These, on the other hand, were the ones that were in the greenhouse on the back of the porch. They were all lined up. I had them all labeled, and the wind got it, and it just flew off. This was upside down with the lid on it, and I kind of rescued most of it. And look, I mean, they just came up like crazy, but I have no idea which ones are what. So I guess it's kind of be a guessing game. These I planted out here. These are all onions, and you can tell these came up. None of these have yet. So I'm just kind of waiting on that. I'm trying to kind of keep on top of keeping it watered. But I watched a video from M.I. Gardener about starting onions and just, sprinkling so many in there, and then, later you can move them. So I don't know. We'll see how that works. Here are my herbs that I started out here. So this is some mullein that I got. I just haven't been able, I need to look and see if I can find some like locally in my ground. This isn't coming up yet. The caraway is not coming up. The fennel I have grown before, and it is not coming up very good. Now this one is toothache plant, and I have more of it started inside. I got one plant of this, and I have had seeds forever now because each of those little flowers has so many seeds. So this is feverfew, and it is actually coming up as well. So is the cumin and the marjoram right here, and the chamomile is going crazy. So I'm really excited about that. Hopefully I can get this out and plant it somewhere. Now these are the morning glories. I'm telling you what, these things grow like crazy. This is all saved seed, and there is purple and I think like a pink or a whitish pink color. These I have to figure out where I'm going to put them, probably on a really good structure because they grew like crazy last year. This is my stinging nettle, and it is in there. you just can't see it very well. Like it's tiny, tiny, tiny. Can you see some of it? It doesn't seem to be doing as well as what I want it to. This is more flowers. These are sweet peas. Over here, more flowers. This is bachelor buttons, so more flowers. And then my calendula back here, which I was hoping, I mean, can they not do as well as like just flowers? But they're alive, so they're back here. They're wet. They just need probably some warmer weather. These were inside, and like these had all flowers, or had tomatoes in them, and they have not done well. But that is, of course, my fault. I actually pulled these out of soil blocks and put them in here to help maybe give them better soil and maybe help. So I've got my jalapenos, which if both of these live, that will be good. And if they produce, I had a lilac bell and that one died. This one is a lunchbox pepper, which did really good from the last couple years. This was a free seed, this spoon pepper, and I don't think any of them are alive. They did really well. They came up really well. Maybe this one. I don't know. But that's what I got. So not a whole lot of tomatoes, so I got to work on that. I may have to buy some. You know, which I really don't like doing. I like starting my own because it's so much cheaper that way, and I get to start the varieties I want. But I may have to buy some from Rural King or the stores. I may have to get some peppers and some tomatoes from there. We'll see how these fare. I still have enough time, so I could probably maybe start some more, but this would be about it. I would have to get them going pretty soon, which is probably what I'll do today. I'm going to get some more seeds started. But then I have a little experiment over here I'm going to show you. So this is an experiment. This is the greenhouse that tipped over. I don't have the cover on it right now. It's out here, so it should be good. But it gives me some more space to start seeds. These are actually 2 tops of peppers that I bought from the store. And I've seen somebody do it before. I'm just like, okay, well, maybe that will work. So I've just put them in there upside down and with the seeds on them, and I've been watering those. These are like old egg cartons that came from a food pantry, and this has kohlrabi in it. Not doing so hot. This down here was all stuff, and this was another case of, I believe, not the right kind of soil, so none of this stuff came up, and now I'm not even sure what was in there. So this will all be soil that'll have to be dumped, and I'll probably get rid of most of these containers, or actually I'll probably just need to sterilize them. So I was looking, the soil I bought a couple years ago is different than the soil that I bought last year and this year, and I'm thinking that I need to go back to that because that soil did really well with my seedlings last year, and I think it was a mixture of vermiculite, which I actually have, and I believe it was a Miracle Grow, and it was an organic seed starting mix as far as I know. So I'm thinking that's probably what I need to get again. Right now I have an organic one from Burpee, and it's a raised garden container mix. So not really a seed starting mix, but that's what I was using. And I think the other one was a compost, and I mixed it with vermiculite, and the compost actually had like mushrooms coming up in it because of and I looked it up, the mushrooms are actually in the compost because they break down the compost, but they were like coming up in my flour and my stuff, so that was probably not the best choice for that. This is why it's good to make notes probably, or go back and look at your videos, your pictures if you take those. So we're gonna go outside and look and see what's in the garden and kind of around in areas, and see what we have growing and what's actually popping up out of the soil. Of course, these are coming up, all these tiger lilies. I wish everything did this well. These will be beautiful. They come up so well. So I do have flowers planted here. Of course, they're not up yet. There is a hibiscus there and some other things that I have marked on my little map in the house. But you can see I have violets coming up. I did plant some over here, so now they are coming up everywhere. Our oldest grandbaby and I were out here picking these and dandelions the other day to freeze dry. So we've got some yarrow, which I had moved out of the yard into a bed and then moved it over here because it took over the bed. So I just like to have it here so I have access to it. you can keep it in your yard. This was just one that was growing in the yard. Like, we have more of it. Of course, if you mow your yard all the time, like, you know, we try to keep ours, then you won't see it. But I happened to see it coming up around something, and I dug it up and put it in the garden. Here's some comfrey. Now, if you plant this variety from strictly, I think it's strictly medicinal seeds. This one is just an organic comfrey, and it is spreading. So it was a plant one there, so now I have one here, and I have one back here as well. So that does spread quite well. Now, hopefully, actually, I need to check that plant right there, because I have golden seal planted here. I think I'm going to check that. Well, that's exciting. That little plant that's coming up is one of my golden seals. So I purchased 25 of them last year and planted them, and hopefully I have more than just one come up. Some of them are right here, and some of them are over by the compost, which will actually have to be moved because I took one of those down. But I'm excited. There's one of them coming up. I probably should mark that or put something over it so the chickens don't eat it. I don't know. Do the chickens like golden seal? I have no idea. Okay, so this is a bed of potatoes, which of course has not came up yet. This is potatoes as well, with a little bit of thyme in here, and has not came up. So bed number 3 has carrots in it, which are actually coming up a little bit. You can kind of see the green, so that's why I covered them with this and mesh. These are the ones that I actually glued together now, and have the netting over the top of them. Now on bed number 4, I do have radishes, so they're coming up really well. These are the ones that I probably need to thin. I really don't want to. I hate pulling out little plants, but I probably need to if I want decent sized ones. This is about, well, this is growing really well. Now in this bed, I do have a tiny little thing of thyme over here, and there might be one plant right there. There was plants all in here, little ones around, and either the weather or the chickens got to them. So I have 2 or 3 rogue chickens that will not stay in. So I bought this new poultry net, and I really like it. I don't have it energized. It does not have any electricity on it right now. I like the ease of moving it around. Like, I moved them over here, and I can kind of move them in the wherever I want them, really, that attaches to the run. And I just have 2 or 3 rogue ones now that get out, and I don't want them out here because I don't want them in my garden. Otherwise, I'm going to have to cover everything up and make sure that they can't get to it, at least until it gets big enough to maybe share a little bit. I don't know. So this is one of the beds that did have cauliflower or kohlrabi, and yeah, they have all died, I believe, because I made the mistake of putting them out too soon. So that was my fault. I'm pretty sure the same thing with over here in this bed as well. I put it all out too soon. Got a little too quick. Horseradish, of course, is coming up, and I have some things planted over here. And I'm having to look and see what I actually planted. Oh, I planted some cabbage over here, and I don't remember what I planted right there because I had some room, but I did write it down so I can look at that. This is the bed with the asparagus, which actually is coming up. I was worried that it had died. I was really worried because I couldn't remember when the asparagus actually comes up, and I was out here talking about April things, and noticed that it has come up, so I'm pretty excited about that. So I should be able to be harvesting some of that soon. But I do have beets and sugar snap peas up, and that might be the rest of it in here. I don't know, we'll have to see. Yeah, so here's some sugar snap peas that I planted in, look, February. So they're up, and these beets I planted in February as well. So they are coming up, but not as much over here. I'm wondering if the chickens were able to get down and kind of pick them out here, because there are some under here that they can't get to. Now, I did plant more sugar snap peas on this side of the trellis a couple weeks later, and they are up now, but so are all of this. This is all beets, so this will be stuff that I need to check and see and pull out. So all these beds still have potential. I did actually plant a lettuce mix in these two, which evidently did not do well because it did not come up. And these are all just bare right now, except for in the corners of these 4 little ones, I did sprinkle marigold seeds in all of these, and they are, I think all of them have some coming up in the corners, which I'm pretty excited about. So once you get a marigold or like a spilanthes plant, toothache plant, and you get that flower, you can save the seeds. And I have saved a ton of seeds from both of those, and then I plant, because they say that if you save seeds, like if you have a plant and you save that seed, it is more, what is the word I'm looking for? With your climate and your area, it kind of adapts to that, so that the seeds that you save, they grow better here where you are, if that makes sense. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, so I'm done in the garden. We're going to go over here by the pool because I planted some new flowers last year, and they are coming up. But before we get to the pool, we do have burdock coming up again, which I'm glad that I didn't kill all of it. This used to be actually our kitchen sink. It looked a lot better than that, and then one of them rusted out, and we just decided to go with a farmhouse sink, and I put this out here to use for some flowers and stuff. So I have hostas coming up in the corner, and then these are Black Beauty, I believe, tulips that have come up. And these, I'm not sure what they're doing, but they are a lily, and they look kind of weird. I'm not sure. They're really pretty. They're striped, and but they, I don't know, they're opening weird. I haven't seen that before. Well, hello, Simba. How are you? But I have them all in here. I just kind of planted them everywhere. And that's another lily. Now my roses, I really pruned these. There was leaves, and just, I'm probably going to have to prune them again because they were really bushing out. Some more lilies, and another poor little rose bush that's kind of looking kind of wonky. But I do have another hosta coming up here. It's a little bit different than the other ones. There is a hibiscus there that hopefully will come back up, and lots of little purple violets. So we come over here to the house. This is the rosemary plant. I don't think that lived. I've cut it back quite a bit because I'm going to see if it comes back. And Miss Hattie is up here because I have one of the side pastures open. Why are you all barking? So there's the lemon balm. This would be the time to divide it, which I actually divided some of it, and it's out by the fruit orchard. I've got chives coming up. The sage, luckily, has come back out. And so has the bee balm, which it comes out. And it should, I really should have moved it. Like, I should have swapped these two. Like, that one is huge. This is one of the pieces of the rosemary that I was hoping might live, but I don't think it did either. And then my lavender did live because there is some of it coming out. So it just doesn't look very good. So some of those herbs did well, some of them did not. And then over here along this side is where my echinacea is. I've got some hostas, some lilies, and some other plants that I planted last year, and some seed that I broadcast that come up, and they kind of look like weeds, but they're really pretty flowers. So this is another lily, and this is, I don't know how you say it, but it's like coreoposis maybe. There's my echinacea, and then those are some more flowers that I planted last year. The hosta, more flowers that I don't know the name of, and I'm pretty sure most of this is weeds with probably some coreoposis in there, however you say that. And yeah, that stuff is everywhere. I'm pretty sure it's considered invasive, and because it puts out tiny little seeds everywhere, and it does grow rather well, which is good because I really like it. It's really pretty. So over here in this bed, I do have some, I guess you'd call cuttings. I do have some cuttings in this bed. Simba's helping me with the tour. So this is a flowering almond. These are going crazy up in the front of the house. So I pulled some and put them in here because it's kind of sandy soil where I added from the, I had sand that I had to change from the pool, so I put it in here, and it actually does really well. So these are my elderberries that I got off of our property, and so far most of them are still alive. That's a flower that I have mapped somewhere that I cannot tell you what that is right now. And then Mr. Simba likes to be the center of attention, and these are the elderberries from my parents' house, and they seem to be okay, except maybe one of them. I don't know, we'll see. And the one that I did not get any leaves on, we'll see if that one makes it. But I do have more flowers, lilies, the garlic. I always just leave some of the garlic in there. And then of course these roses over here, pruned, and probably need to prune again as well. So this is where I took out one of the compost bins, which I actually have hibiscus and purple violets down here, which will either need to be moved, or I'm going to have to I'll just put something here. But this is the golden seal. It's all in here too, but I do not see any coming up like that other one does. So hopefully, fingers crossed, that comes up. But you can tell, just got some cleanup still to do, you know, old tarps that are blowing that need to be thrown away. This is starting to come out, which means it's probably going to get weedy. I should have cut some of the canes out of it last year and did not. I will probably regret that. Woo! That wind picked up. It's a little chilly, breezy this morning. Another reason why I shouldn't have planted some starts out yet. Alright, strawberry beds. I don't know about these. So I did get, gosh, now I don't even remember how many I got. 25 bare root strawberry plants. So there's one. So one, I see one come up in here. Maybe two. And then this bed, this one was actually one that survived from all the crazy out here. So the first year I got these, I actually planted strawberry plants, and they did so well. I had so many strawberries, and then Annabelle got out one time, and I don't know what happened. She just like ate the center out of them, and they were never the same again. I don't know if the chickens got in there or what. And so I tried to get like starts, like runners. That didn't help, or that did not work. And then they all died. And so I got bare root plants. We're gonna try these and see. But I do have peonies coming up, and my fruit trees are blooming, except for the figs. And I have trimmed them, except for these two really big ones. I do need to trim those some more. They're really, really going to get a good pruning soon. But this has been down long enough to where it is actually going to rip really easily. But this is a peony, and then I have peonies all down here. I got 5 of them. This is probably, after thinking about it, after planting them, it's probably not the best place to put them, because I'm not really sure. I'll just have to keep them where they don't get super big. This of course is the caterpillar tunnel that is not done yet. I'm hoping to get the plastic on it. That's what's left, is get the plastic and the twine over the top of it, but that requires more than me, and it requires like no wind. So I'm not really sure when that's going to be. I keep hoping that I'm going to get to use it like, you know, this spring or in the fall, and it just never happens. That one day that we have no wind, nobody's here. So we got that. But I will show you the 2 little gooseberries bushes that I have left over here. So why I planted them on this side of the caterpillar tunnel, I have no idea. But there's this one, and I think it is a Pixel or a Pixwell gooseberry from Stark Brothers. So that's what this one is, and I'm pretty sure that is what this one is, because I'm thinking I had 6 and 3 of each, because there are none down here, and yeah, none of these survived. And as you can tell, this is going to have to be redone, because this stuff is just not meant to be out here in the sun, like, yeah, well, in the weather continuously without something over the top of it. It's just crazy how much the grass is already growing, like back here. And that's why Hattie's up at the house. I let Miss Annabelle out there in that field, because it has grown up, because they have just eaten down everything back here where they're at all the time. I know she'd really like to be out here, but I don't think I trust her around my trees and everything. And especially if the goats get out. They like to peel the bark off of my fruit trees, and have killed a few before. So luckily when they got out this last time and peeled bark off, it wasn't all the way around and they did not kill my new trees. So hoping maybe we get some good things off of the trees this year. We did get peaches last year. I did get blueberries. So hopefully pruning the blueberries and pruning these trees, we will get a better harvest this year. I'm just learning as I go with that. My bees are gone, which I think I shared about that. The honey is in the house though, and so are some of the frames and beeswax and stuff like that. So I was able to keep some of that, but I'm not really sure what happened there, if it was my fault or I don't know. I'm not really sure what happened. So I'm hoping though to get some stuff. I would really like to have this caterpillar tunnel done, because I'd really like to plant more stuff all year round, but I don't know if that will happen. It's just getting the time, to do stuff before, and like right now everything is like coming out like crazy. So I do have some more projects I want to get done, so we'll see if that happens. But so far, I mean, they're enjoying this. Most of them are staying in there, so that's good. I just wish they all would stay in there. I need to get the ones out of the barn in there too, but that is a whole nother thing. I just have to put them in like a mobile coop out in the field or something, because they do not like to stay in things. So, but that's it for the tour this month. Hopefully next month I have some greens, a lot more green coming up in the garden, and I'll get to share that with you. And but my suggestion is just make notes and keep track of, when you plant stuff, what soil you use, how it worked, and all that good stuff. I am not really great at that, and I'm trying to get better at it, but it would definitely help if I would have a list of, get this, not this. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed this. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and of course don't forget to be lovely lights today.